Oh, finally it's on PC. It's so great to experience Last of Us on PC indeed. The great environmental art, animations, mocap, and most of all the story. Oh, come on! Just, can we finally go? Yo, Sony, Naughty Dog, what the hell is this? After 10 years, Last of Us is finally arriving on PC, and you know what? It's amazing, like it genuinely is a great story, but that's the best part. It's not the only thing. The environmental design is great. The animations, mocap, as I said previously, it's all fantastic with mediocre gameplay and brutal combat. And it's something worth celebrating indeed.
But how the hell do I review this beast? Do I review it as a PC game? Do I take in count the original version which I finished on a friend's PS4? Do I take in count countless other creators from 10 years back? Do I compare it with the TV show? Or do I judge the shittiness of the PC port separate? And do I look back at this game knowing how shit the sequel was? Well, let's say you've never heard about this game, so here goes. Well, the story starts out with one day without a single hint or warning, the gaming diarrhea hits. I mean, the generic zombie outbreak happens. We follow our character Joel, a common everyday Joe escaping the calamity when the disaster strikes, and the game starts on a very emotional tone. Genuinely one of the best prologues in the video games I've ever seen. Then we skip 20 years into the future when the society has collapsed and the world got infected by Detroitus, turning our setting, the United States of the Freedom Land, into a barely livable cesspit with the small communities of humans gathering in last strongholds, barely living day by day in a basic militaristic dictatorships. Basically a modern day Russia. Our protagonist... Actually, well, sure, why not? Joel has managed to commit a lot of atrocities and become, as Tess says...
Guess what? We're shitty people, Joel. It's been that way for a long time.
No, we are survivors.
This is our chance.
It is over, Tess!
Joel gets stuck transporting our pet dog. I mean, useless wisecracking teenage girl. And from that premise alone, you can expect the story to really be bad. I mean, no one likes teenage girls, not even them themselves. As a society, I think we've all learned that during mid-2000s. However, as I said previously before, the story and our characters are great. Genuinely masterclass storytelling takes place as both of our characters struggle to survive against the horrific and terrifying zombie remnants and against even more terrifying human nature. During this journey, our characters change and grow to trust and care for each other more and more. Joel finds a light in the world, once more rediscovering something he had lost, and Ellie has to quickly grow up. Regardless, it's a journey that is filled with great amount of drama and character development as you trek across the modern day Detroit, but on a national scale.
Gameplay-wise, well, the game comes from the console-itis era when the chest-high walls were still the bread and butter of many a peasant, indeed.
Well, the game basically comes out of an era where cover-based shooters were going out fast, but with Last of Us it's stuck. However, despite that, rather than being an action-based, there's a heavy emphasis on realism, or rather low health, low ammo, brutal close-up combat, mostly pushing you to do stealth first then going guns blazing. I mean, most of the time you're not gonna have enough bullets to scrap a fucking magazine together, let alone have a proper gangster shootout. Well, the first time I played this game was on my friend's PS4, and being as adept at the controller gameplay as I am at the brain surgery, even the mediocre difficulty was intense. Well, it also doesn't help that Joel seems to be drinking absinthe and motor oil for the past 20 years, so his hands are shakier than the addicts he was selling drugs to back in Boston. Now on the PC though, with the glorious controls, I managed to wrangle most of Joel's withdrawal symptoms. However, I noticed that playing through the hardest difficulty led to a very specific gameplay style. The game genuinely becomes brutal as you basically have no materials or bullets at all, and nearly every opponent needs to die in a Chris Redfield fashion. As you're basically boulder punching through everything and anything, except for clickers and bloaters that insta-kill you.
Joe, do your thing.
Oh, alright then.
I also tried turning down the difficulty. To my surprise, the game turned into a more action-based cover shooter. So, consider the difficulty more as an action to stealth survival slider instead. Now, of course, I can't go without mentioning the exemplary AI for combat, working in packs and constantly trying to flank you, trying to get a drop on you. It's been a while since I've been properly annoyed by how clever the AI is. But fundamentally, Last of Us is a very basic and generic cover-based shooter with mediocre gameplay.
Oh, no, seriously, it's very mediocre. You take away the very few basic enemies and the clever AI, granted, you get very little variety from the word go for the gameplay. Yes, animations and visuals are really nice, but you take those jingling keys away and the level design even looks very, very basic and straightforward, and most of all, boring.
Oh, and those animations, textures, and cinematics we got in the remastered version for the PC are exemplary. Hell, even the original version, which actually was the near sole reason why PS3 got sold at all, holds up incredibly well. Mocap performances are genuinely phenomenal. However, I noticed one funny thing.
How far are we gonna take
As
this?
far as it needs to go.
Ellie is the little girl that broke your fucking finger.
Now, I don't know if you can see it with the YouTube compression, but it literally feels like every character seems to be spitting quite a bit. Now, that's not quite how in real world it works, but okay, fine. And yet, I can't unsee this. Now, if I can take a moment and actually talk about the TV show's success, it's interesting that actually, despite the game being able to change the world a lot more drastically than the TV show also managed to change a few parts of the game that actually looked like crap, especially the hydroelectric station just looked bad, especially in the old version. While at the same time, of course, for the TV show stuff, it's quite a lot of sets tended to be quite cheap, especially the Bill thing. I don't know, it just looked cheap. Really good performances, but you could have just done a bit better, couldn't you? But anyways, moving on.
Okay, now we have to talk about that PC port.
Jeez, where to begin with this? Well, I suppose first of all, everyone was met with a shader building, which took over an hour. So you better pick up a coffee mug and a good porn mag and rub one out while you're waiting for this jerk-off to be ready to play. Of course, not without random crashes once you're done either. Hell, my game even crashed when I was alt-tabbed too long. But the stupidest thing on the day one was that the game completely froze my PC. And I mean locked it up so that I had to restart it. Loading times are suspiciously long, and on that very same day one, loading screens appeared during gameplay. Is this a fucking joke or something? But you know what's the most disturbing thing? I read this review on Steam and had a funk. Yeah, if shaders take an hour to build, you basically have very little time before you can refund it. Now, while I suspect Naughty Dog or Sony wouldn't be this scummy to make this game this way, it's just an extra insult on top of already bad situation. But you know, hey, day 2 comes along and it's better, right? Well, I thought so at first. But sadly, you won't turn around a slapdash garbage bed shitting like this easily. And the first reviews on the Steam reflected the very poor state of this port. And that's the thing, it's a fucking port of a finished game, not a brand new release. Genuinely, you start to ask, how hard is it for a massive company like Sony and their darling developer Naughty Dog to QC, or hell, get someone to quality control this mess, especially considering the recent return to Last of Us hype thanks to the TV show. Then on day 3 with an updated game, I loaded it up to finish it and thought, okay, it must be better now. Well, hell, loading a level feels like an eternity. And mind you, this is not a Crysis remaster. And then the game decides to properly kill the entire PC by freezing it. Are you kidding me?
Okay, Sony and Naughty Dog, what the fuck are you doing? Right, okay, let's start with Sony, right? So first things first, they released Horizon Zero Dawn on PC, a console exclusive. That's so cool, I enjoy that game. Then they made the God of War come to PC, and that was even better. Christopher Judge is great. Now, after that, they released Uncharted on PC. Nobody cares about that, whatever. But that's a Naughty Dog game. Okay, fine. After that, they announced Last of Us coming to PC, and that's even better. And before they released that, they announced and released PlayStation VR 2, which is fantastic for price and performance. They were on a genuine rise, while at the same time Microsoft was just like a greedy goblin hoarding its Bethesda and Call of Duty nonsense. So, what the hell, guys?
So, in conclusion, the Steam reviews are warranted, and they deserve the negative reviews for the lazy handling of this gem of a game. Eventually, I'm sure it'll be fixed, but as is now, well, to spend your $60, well, there is that Resident Evil 4 game that recently released with incredibly good reviews and a lot better gameplay. And as long as you don't mind not having any kind of a real story, go for that one instead.
What are you doing?
It's all right. Come here, come here. Hey, fella. Hurry up, come on. Come on.
Hey there. So fucking cool.